Hello, I hope you're all having a absolutely fantastic day. I just wanted to discuss my feelings about the Banished being in Halo Infinite because I haven't seen anyone else talk about this as writing this video, and I thought that, a few people may be interested in what I'm about to say. So, as you can probably tell by the title, I'm not completely happy with the Banished being in Infinite. Now, because I want this to be as understandable as possible and not a complete mess, I've sorted this video into 4 main categories: the good about the Banished, Cortana, discontinuing Halo 5 story, and my overall thoughts. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Before I get to the negatives, I just want to make it perfectly clear that as an overall antagonist and enemy faction, I think that the Banished are one of the best in Halo, if not most first-person shooters. I love how they are acting as sort of a reboot of the Covenant in this game, and I really do think that they are a very interesting and almost actually kind of scary faction that we'll be fighting. Just the fact that, by the looks of it, they've dealt a huge blow not only to the UNSC, but to humanity as a whole, it's just insane. I mean, they are probably the biggest threat we've seen in a Halo game ever. I love how they provide an excellent reason for the brutes to return to the franchise, and for the enemy design to revert back to a more classic approach. It's also really cool, in my opinion, for a side game antagonist to enter into main games. Now, while there are more positives, I feel these are the main ones that I want to cover before I really get into the negatives. So I feel that the most obvious thing which stood out to people who've played Halo 5 is that Cortana is nowhere to be seen. At all in what we saw last week, not counting the Become trailer. But even then, in that trailer, it does sort of sound to me, and would make more sense for it to be Halsey giving the monologue over the armor being built. But that's not important to this video, so I might cover it in another one. This to me really changed my perspective on the event set between Halo 5 and Infinite, because the impression that I got up until the Xbox event was that all this destruction and disarray we've seen has all somehow been linked to Cortana. Even in the Banished teaser last month, it still had me thinking that Cortana was the main threat, and that they maybe just teamed up with her or something. Whereas now, it seems to all be because of the Banished. I just want to emphasize the word seems, as we don't know for sure yet. The reason this changed my view was because of a couple things. The first is that I was quite excited to see a world in which Cortana is in control and we're acting as kind of some sort of revolution, if you get what I mean. Even though Halo 5's story really wasn't executed that well, I still felt like there was a huge significance to the events that took place in that game, and it began to actually make me appreciate the game a little more, Sure, the campaign is still awful, and I'm not fond of Cortana being evil, but it started to redeem her character in a written basis, and it begged the question of what has she done, what state is the galaxy in. I was really excited to kind of unravel the story of what happened before Infinite while attempting to stop her. The second reason this changed my view was because of it discontinuing Halo 5's story. Now, I just want to state that I know it still continues the story and is a sequel to Halo 5, but what I mean by this point is, for the most part, ditching the Cortana storyline where they can in favour of this new Banished focused story. I am really not a huge fan of this direction if they do choose to take this direction, as it looks to me, and by what I can tell others, that even though this campaign would heavily feature Cortana, the writing was going to be a huge step up, and the game would be this big finale to the Reclaim saga. However, with the Banished being the main focal point of the campaign, I get the impression, and I'm worried about them just capping off the Cortana plot as fast as they can, and using the rest of the game to push this new plot forward, which I really do feel is the wrong way to go about it, as this game should be trying to tie up all the loose ends that this trilogy started in a huge finale of sorts, rather than beginning a new storyline or just straight up starting and ending the Banished plot in one game. Now, do we know that Cortana won't be heavily focused, or that the events before Infinite had little to nothing to do with Cortana? No, of course not. We've only seen a minuscule amount of the game, So my problems and worries have a perfectly good chance of not becoming a reality, as obviously Cortana was in the Discover Hope trailer, which does suggest that she is in the game to a certain extent. It's just that I do think Cortana doesn't sound evil in at least most of the clips she's been in, which could suggest that she gets fixed earlier on in the game to focus on the Banished, like I mentioned earlier. This would also explain why the monologue in the Become trailer does sound more Cortana than Halsey. I guess I just don't want them to ditch the Cortana arc yet, as I do feel there is potential in that storyline. Do I doubt the writing of Infinite? No, not at all. I think that it is in perfectly good hands and that 343 have learned their lesson in that aspect of the game. I just hope they don't discontinue this potentially great final arc to Cortana's story. But that's just what I think. Okay, that is the end of this video. So if you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like, as it will let me know that you want more of this kind of content. Now, this is my first video on this channel, so if you do like what you see, I hope that you will subscribe, or at least check out my next videos. But that's all from me today, so I guess I'll see you next time. Have a great day, and thank you very much for watching.